Remember that time no one appreciated your favorite Disney movie?
Today, I am so excited because we are talking about some of the most underrated Disney animated films.
The thing they all have in common is that Quincy really loves them all, and that's basically why we're talking about this particular cluster of movies.
What is The Emperor's New Groove? Don't you mean who?
Boom, baby!
He's the sovereign lord of the nation. He's the hippest cat in creation. He's the alpha.
The fact that we have to have this conversation means that I don't know if I can be friends with some of you. The Emperor's New Groove is an incredible movie.
Also known as How the Emperor Got His Groove Back.
A national treasure. That's what The Emperor's New Groove is. It's an amazing Disney animated film, criminally underrated. It came out in the early 2000s.
Beware the groove.
All I want to do is sing, it's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
And in it, Emperor Cusco is a terrible human being.
There's a lot of plot, right? We could talk about this for a while.
Long story short, he's turned into a llama. You don't need to know the details in between, just know he's turned into a llama, and he has to learn how to be a better person by being a better llama.
My favorite character is the old man who gets kicked out of the pyramid for getting in the way of the groove of the spoiled brat, because guess what? Some of us are just trying to walk here, all right? I'm sorry you've got like a dance routine you have to do to feel good about yourself. But some of us aren't here to make you feel good about yourself. Some of us are just trying to walk with our cane and get through life.
Yzma, played by Eartha Kitt. Are you kidding?
Eartha Kitt, y'all. Eartha Kitt plays a villain in this movie, and she does it so flawlessly.
Perhaps the greatest Disney villain of all time. And when I say perhaps, I mean definitely the greatest Disney villain of all time. Yzma is the best Disney villain of all time, and she is the #1 reason why this movie's underrated.
A llama? He's supposed to be dead!
She's awesome. She's drawn so wiry and like sort of sexy in a toothpick kind of way.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
Pull the lever, Kronk!
Kronk! Pull the lever!
Wrong lever!
Kronk is my favorite character.
Not Molly's dog. The person.
Hello, my name is Kronk. I'm obviously the best character in Emperor's New Groove. Kronk is the best character because he's very sweet and he tries really hard and he's friends to all the different animals like the squirrels. So now I, Kronk, will do my impression of Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove, who I got my namesake. Okay, let me get in character. Look what I can do. I really don't see how that's helpful. No. He's got a point.
Oh, I know. Yzma. Yzma's in your chair, right? Very good, Kronk. Get the snack. Oh, I got it.
Oh, and scene.
Emperor's New Groove is Molly's wheelhouse. Everything else is just inside of that.
I'll turn him into a flea, a harmless, worthless little flea. Then I'll put that flea inside a box. Then I'll put that box inside of another box. And then I'll send it to myself. And when it arrives, I'll smash it with a hammer! It's brilliant, 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 I tell you!
So, Jaws, honorable mention, she didn't name her dog after you.
Hate your hair, not likely, yikes, yikes, yikes. And let me guess, you've got a great personality.
Sorry, buddy.
It's so funny. It's such a funny movie.
Do I think The Emperor's New Groove is overrated? I think a lot of people talk about it.
The Emperor's New Groove is most definitely underrated.
We have 4,000 Frozen things going on in the Disney parks. Not a single Emperor's New Groove. Really?
Okay, here's the deal. Stop this video if you have not seen The Emperor's New Groove, okay? I'll be here. We'll all be here, okay? AllEars team, we'll be here. Go watch The Emperor's New Groove and then come back.
Don't tell me. We're about to go over a huge waterfowl.
Yep.
Sharp rocks at the bottom.
With America's most popular hero.
It's Robin Hood I want!
Walt Disney's Robin Hood.
Robin Hood is one of the greatest Disney animated features, and it is underrated because it is so good. Look at how cute he is. Don't you just want to grab his little cheek and it's so good.
Robin Hood is a Disney animated film that came out in the 70s.
The very well-known story of Robin Hood.
Is anybody unfamiliar with Robin Hood?
It's a retelling of Robin Hood with
I told myself I was going to say this word right.
Anthropomorphic?
Is Disney's take, and it's rather anthropomorphized.
It's told entirely with animals. There's no humans in the whole movie. All the characters are different animals.
Robin Hood, in this case, he's a fox. And I'm not saying that like he's handsome. I'm saying literally he is the animal known as the fox.
I mean, is this where we talk about the fact that, like, I had a weird crush on Robin Hood the fox? Should we get into that? I don't know.
And I never thought the fox was attractive because I didn't. Never thought the fox was attractive.
But he is, and you know it. You know I'm not being weird. You know you've thought that. Like, you know you've looked at that fox and been like, if that was a human.
Maybe he was cute. Just kidding, he wasn't. I would never say that. That's all Morgan. Morgan's the weird one this episode. It was Morgan who said that, not me. Her words, not mine.
The pantsless fox Robin Hood. I had a big crush on him as a kid, as I had a crush on Simba.
I don't care who you are. You have thought that Robin Hood the fox is attractive. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear any. It's the energy. It's the confidence and the heroic energy he exudes. It's very attractive, and I will say that.
Don't you just want to grab his little cheek and...
I don't want to turn this RTT into like a psychiatry session, but perhaps we should.
My favorite thing about Robin Hood is that Phil Harris, the famous band leader from the 30s and 40s, voices Little John. He also voiced Baloo. Little John is drawn just like Baloo. He also did one of the major roles in Aristocats.
I do think it's interesting that you can look at how Disney reuses some animation sequences, specifically here in Robin Hood with Maid Marian dancing and Little John dancing. Those are reused from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and at least for in the case of Maid Marian, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and then for In the Prince of Little John, Baloo from the Jungle Book. So they're both actually reused animation sequences, which is pretty cool. So hashtag Disney Nerd Trivia.
The man who wrote and performed King of the Road, Roger Miller, wrote some of the music and performed as the rooster.
The songs are so good.
Robin Hood and Little John walking through the forest, laughing back and forth at what the other has to say.
If you're a Broadway fan, Roger Miller wrote the Tony Award-winning musical Big River that won Best Musical in 1985.
Oodalally, golly, what a day.
That's what I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start saying oodalally when I'm excited about something. Put it back. Oodalally.
I do not think that this film is underrated. It's just okay. Like, you know, we've heard the story of Robin Hood so many times.
I do think it's an underrated movie. It also came out in a lull of animation in the 70s. There weren't a lot of bangers coming out then either. This was like the low point for Disney animation, the beginning of it. The 70s and 80s, not a great time for Disney animation. In fact, in the 80s, the Care Bear movies outsold a Disney movie in theaters. That was The Black Cauldron. We're not going to talk about The Black Cauldron in this episode, but we talked about it in this one.
I don't think people put Robin Hood into the box of like Disney classics as often as they do other films, and I fully think it should be. And not because I think that Robin Hood the Fox is cute. That's not what it is. That's Morgan who thinks that. So nice try, but Morgan thinks that. She's the one who thinks Robin Hood is cute, and she's the weird one. Not me. I don't think Robin Hood is cute.
Oh, he's so handsome. He's the cutest and foxiest Robin Hood.
Walt Disney Pictures presents a tale of great wonder, magic, and fantasy. The Sword in the Stone.
Whosoever pulls the sword out from this anvil shall become the next king of England.
This is the one I've been waiting to talk about. I love this movie. I love this movie because it talks about the very least of them becoming the greatest of them.
Sword in the Stone is an awesome animated retelling of that classic story of King Arthur.
And it is Disney's version of the King and Kid Arthur's court. That's not the real thing. King Arthur's court. King Arthur. You know, the sword. It's Disney's version of that. You know what I'm talking about.
Well, it's sort of like a prequel, right? It's Arthur coming into his prime.
With some creative liberties taken, I'll tell you, because if you ever read the actual story of King Arthur getting Excalibur, it's not like this at all.
The story follows Merlin.
Yes, the Merlin, who was a Slytherin, if you didn't know. So quit hating on Slytherins. Merlin was a Slytherin. Calm down.
Not this Merlin. This Merlin would never cut it as a Slytherin, like the real one.
Tutoring young King Arthur, learning through transforming into animals to learn life lessons.
A scene where they turn into squirrels.
I love that. The squirrel scene might be my favorite scene.
And the girl squirrel falls in love with a teenage boy, which is very weird. And then he becomes a human again, and she's so sad. And it makes me really sad for the girl squirrel because she was in love with this boy squirrel, but it turns out he's a little boy, and she's literally devastated, and it makes me want to cry looking at that little squirrel's face as she walks back to the tree all sad.
Hopefully she's okay now. I hope she met a nice real squirrel and partnered up. I hope they saved a lot of nuts for winter and lived very, very happily ever after.
I have a weird fear in childhood movies where when humans are turned into, human children are turned into animals and they can't turn back. I don't know why, as a kid, that was a very real fear I had, was that I was just gonna get turned into a bird and not be able to explain to anyone, hey, help me.
How would I feel if I got turned into a squirrel? I would feel very frustrated because I assume I would not be able to get into my apartment and I would have to figure out how to live in nature.
I don't know if I'd enjoy my time as a tree rat.
I'd be okay with it as long as it was temporary. I don't want to permanently be turned into a squirrel because I would miss my cat.
My cat would go after me. My cat would be able to defeat me if I were a squirrel.
If I got turned into a squirrel, I would start a crime fighting agency with Breed Love. Breed Love and RJ Rescue Rangers.
The squirrel is the least of the animals I want to be turned into. I'd like to be the bird first, and then the fish, and then the squirrel.
We're coming for you, Chippendale. We're coming for you.
Sword in the Stone is definitely underrated. It's a Disney classic. It is so good. Great music, the Sherman Brothers, great voice talent.
Sword in the Stone is highly underrated. We need stories like this. How the least amongst you can become the greatest. It starts there. It starts with someone telling you can do anything. Seriously, you were watching this, you can do anything. Because we all believe you can. Period. And we'll watch them soar. It's that simple.
That will turn young Arthur into King Arthur. Don't miss Walt Disney's...
I'm a fox. My name's Todd. What's your name, kid? Mine's Copper.
Oh.
I'm a hound dog.
The Fox and the Hound.
Fox and the Hound is an animated Disney classic that came out in the early 80s, and it depicts the story of the unlikely friendship of a hound dog and a fox.
And it's about their unlikely friendship because Copper is basically being raised to be a hunting dog. So his destiny is that he is going to go and hunt Todd the Fox.
They are best friends, and it's a sad movie.
The Fox and the Hound is an emotional roller coaster.
Oh, the saddest movie on earth.
It's really sad. If I can express one thing about this movie, is it's very sad.
Oh, it's just so sad. This movie's just so sad that I had to go get my dog Daisy.
Okay, I'm gonna need a box of tissues for this one.
There's some funny characters in this one. I think the grandma lady with the shotgun has got to be my favorite because she has such chutzpah. She's amazing. She don't take no junk from nobody.
You cannot make me choose. I refuse to choose. Oh, which of these two adorable creatures do you like better? Look into their sad eyes and tell which one of them you like less. No. I like them both equally. I love you both. I would adopt you both to live in my house. No.
Does this movie make you cry? Yeah. If I were to watch it, I would probably be in tears the entire second half of the movie. no doubt. This is a children's movie.
This movie, I cry throughout this movie. Like, seriously, this movie has me in my feelings.
Yes, do you have a soul? Ugh, that's why I don't watch it often. At what point I'm like, gosh, I really just need this emotional release. Let's watch Animal Abandonment.
If you don't cry watching this movie, I assume you're a serial killer. And I'm not kidding. Like, you're a monster if you do not cry watching The Fox and the Hound.
No, this one doesn't make me cry. Maybe I have rhinoceros skin.
This movie is underrated because the message of it is so pure and it's timeless. It talks about stereotypes and what people think their roles should be according to how they are born and who people say they are.
I think that there is probably more of a following for The Fox and the Hound than there is for other movies on this list, mainly because a lot of people love Todd and Copper. So, I don't know. I do think it's underrated. I think it's not the most underrated of this particular list.
It's not underrated. It's put right where it should be. I think a lot of people, it's not a musical, so there's a lot, I mean, I can't really hum you the music of that song that Pearl Bailey did. When you're the best of friends. That's all I remember.
If you ever need a good cry, you know, sometimes you just need to get it out. Throw on The Fox and the Hound, and I bet you'll have a good cry.
But you want to be prepared because it is a very, very, very seriously, it's a difficult one. It's a tough one.
My favorite of the movies that we talked about today is gonna have to be The Emperor's New Groove, because that movie is absolutely killer. It has no business being as good as it is, but I love every single movie we talked about today. I just love Yzma more.
Emperor's New Groove. No questions asked. Emperor's New Groove is far and away my favorite of the 4 movies we talked about today. It is so funny.
If I had to watch one right now, it would be Sword in the Stone. There's more adventure. It's really thrilling. There's magic.
The Sword in the Stone. I love the message of The Fox and the Hound, don't get me wrong. But I love The Sword in the Stone because it is such a good story.
I think these movies are underrated because I don't think they stand maybe the test of time, or maybe they were never really that appropriate for kids in their time.
I think some of them are underrated because they deal with darker tones. Like, if you ask just about anyone if they've seen Fox and the Hound, they'll say they have, but that they have not rewatched it, and that's because it's so sad. Like,
I think all of these movies came out in a time when Disney animation, save Sword in the Stone, which I, again, don't think is underrated. I think for Fox and the Hound, Robin Hood, and Emperor's New Groove, they all came out in a time when Disney animation was in a lull. I think the movies that they're bracketed with aren't that great, so then people kind of assumed none of them were that great.
It's not like the farmer and the cowman should be friends. You know, it's not like that. It's like the fox and the hound should never be friends, because one day it's all gonna end when the fox gets hunted and the hound goes and gets the body.
Hey everybody, it's Molly. Thanks for tuning in to this RTT. We hope you didn't cry at The Fox and the Hound. Make sure to like and subscribe and ring that notification bell so you know when new episodes are coming out. If you want more RTT right now, click over here for a playlist of all of our movies episodes. And if you want more AllEars, click over here for a Disney World Ultimate Challenge at the All-Star Movies Resort. Thanks for watching.